In earlier video, we have discussed regarding meristematic tissue as well as simple tissue. Now we are going to discuss regarding a type of permanent tissue known as complex tissue or vascular tissue. Here, let's see what is vascular tissue. Generally, vascular tissue is tissue associated with the conduction in plants. Vascular plants, like plant with well developed conductive system, are known as vascular plants, and vascular plants are also called as tracheophyta, and the main function of vascular tissue is conduction, and they conduct water, minerals and food material. And the additional function of this vascular tissue is to provide mechanical support to the plant. Now the vascular tissue is composed of two types of tissues, that is xylem for conduction of water and minerals and phloem for the conduction of food. Xylem and phloem are complex tissue, and these complex tissue contain more than one type of cells. Xylem and phloem are closely organized in plant, and so vascular bundles are formed by this association of xylem and phloem. Generally, presence of vascular tissue is characteristic of higher cryptogams, that is pteridophytes, and all groups of spermatophyta, that is angiosperm and gymnosperm. It is mainly composed of complex tissue known as conducting tissue. A region of plant organ possessing conducting tissue is known as conducting strand or vascular strand, and it exists in the form of stele or vascular bundle. It is mainly composed of xylem and phloem, as we have already discussed. Now, as we discussed that the xylem and phloem are called as complex tissue because they consist of more than one type of cell. Xylem consists of different kinds of cells, that is tracheids, vessels, xylem sclerenchyma, xylem parenchyma, etc. As well as phloem consists of four different kinds of elements, that is sieve element, which made up of sieve cells and sieve tubes, while secondly companion cells, phloem fiber and phloem parenchyma. So let's discuss in detail regarding xylem as well as phloem, starting with xylem. So let's see what is xylem. It is a complex tissue and most of components are lignified and dead. Only xylem parenchyma is the living component, and xylem consists of different kinds of components. The term proposed by Nageli, and it is a Greek word, xylos, means woods. The main function of xylem is to conduction of water and minerals from root to the leaves. An additional function, that is it provides mechanical support, and there are two types of xylem, that is primary xylem, which is formed from promeristem during primary growth, and secondary xylem formed from vascular cambium during secondary growth. A complex tissue composed of many types of cells, that is xylem parenchyma. So look at this, why xylem is called as complex tissue. Because xylem composed of several types of cells, and some cells are living, some are dead, out of which xylem parenchyma is the only living cell and other are dead cells. So xylem elements are four elements of xylem. First one tracheids, secondly vessels, thirdly xylem fibers, that is called as also known as xylem fibers or wood fibers, or xylem sclerenchyma, and lastly xylem parenchyma, which is also known as a wood parenchyma. Look at the diagrammatic representation here. The picture shows the ray parenchyma, tracheids and vessels also. So let's see what is meant by tracheids first. Tracheids, these are true cells with intact cross wall, and these are lignified and dead cells. The fundamental cell type in xylem is the tracheids, and the tracheid is an elongated cells with tapering ends, which when mature is non-living, that is without protoplast, and the wall are hard but not thick and are usually lignified. In cross section, tracheids are typically angular, though more or less rounded forms also occur. The smallest tracheid forms protoxylem and the bigger one form metaxylem. Tracheids are variously thickened for mechanical strength and for conduction of water from one tracheid to another. There are different types of tracheids depending on thickening patterns in xylem. So these are spiral tracheids, or depending on thickening they are classified as annular thickening, spiral or helical thickening, scalariform thickening, reticulate thickening or peated thickening. On the basis of they are called as a spiral tracheid, annular tracheid or reticulate tracheid likewise. So annular thickening or annular tracheids are the tracheids having thickening in the form of a ring. Look at the diagram. So lignin deposition occur as ring one above the other, and this is the most primitive type of thickening. Secondly, spiral tracheids or spiral thickening, also called as a helical thickening, and lignin is deposited in the form of continuous spirals. Third one, that is scalariform thickening. Here the thickening are laid in the form of transverse bands, also known as a ladder like thickening. So pits occur in between the thickening also. Next one, that is reticulate thickening or reticulate tracheids. The thickening forms a network. Look at the diagram. Diagrammatic representation shows the net like thickening on the tracheids. Next one, that is peated thickening. Here the orbited tracheids, the entire wall is uniformly thickened, leaving small areas called as pits. Cell wall more or less uniform thickness. Many pits are distributed over the entire wall. Most advanced type of thickening or most advanced type of tracheids. Nature and arrangement of pits of varies. Pits may be circular or elongate bordered, and scalariform peated tracheids elongate bordered pits arranged in a scalariform pattern in a ladder like appearance. The main function of tracheid is conduction of water and mineral salt. The thick and firm walls of tracheid provide mechanical support. The organs in which fibers are absent, the tracheids play an important role in providing support and give mechanical strength. Now, the another element of xylem is vessels. They are also called as tracheae. These are short cells, shorter than tracheids. These are non-living at maturity. Cells are devoid of protoplast at maturity and made up of tube-like cells. Cells are arranged as a series in an end-to-end fashion. Cells are arranged parallelly to the long axis of organ and numerous pits present in the lateral wall for communication. And components of vessels are called vessel segments or vessel elements. So we can say that the vessels are like pipes. They do not have any cross walls and they are lignified. Vessels are characteristics of angiosperm but are lacking in only a few. Primitive angiosperm families, for example, Trochodendreci or Winteraceae or Tetracentraceae, and in some xerophytic, parasitic and aquatic genera where they have been lost or reduced. In many monocotyledons they are absent. The secondary wall of vessels develop in various ways. Thickenings are deposited as ring, that is annular, continuous spiral or helix, that is helical, and sometimes it may be scalariform, reticulate or peated. So these are different types of thickening are found on the vessels also. And pitted thickening is characteristic of metaxylem and secondary xylem. The next element of Xylem is xylem fibers, or we can say it is a xylem sclerenchyma. These are sclerenchyma cells in xylem, and cells are thick walled and elongated, also called as xylem fibers, a component of xylem which consists of dead cells, no protoplast at maturity. The cells with lignified secondary cell wall, and secondary cell wall is very thick. Main function is to provide mechanical support, and there are two types of xylem fibers, that is fiber tracheids and libriform fibers. And the last element of xylem, that is xylem parenchyma. It is a component of xylem which is living cells, cells with cytoplasm and prominent nucleus. Thin cellulosic cell wall is present. Lignified secondary cell wall is absent. Very rarely parenchyma in secondary xylem undergoes secondary growth. Parenchyma stores starch, oil and other ergastic substances. And there are two types of xylem parenchyma, that is axial parenchyma and ray parenchyma. So these are the axial parenchyma and ray parenchyma. Axial parenchyma originated from elongated fusiform cambial cells and arranged parallelly to the long axis of the organ in which they occur, while ray parenchyma originated from ray initials of cambium. And there are two types, that is procumbent ray cells and upright ray cells. Procumbent ray cells are long axis of cells are radially elongated, while upright ray cells long axis of cell vertically elongated. The function of in all these four elements of xylem, that is xylem tracheids, vessels, fibers and parenchyma, togetherly the whole xylem is act as a conducting tissue of water and mineral salt and the chief supporting structure of vascular plants. Secondary function of xylem is storage of food, that is starch, oil and other substances, and other mineral of such nature as crystals, gums and resins. So this is all about vascular tissue, one of the vascular tissue, xylem. We will discuss regarding another type of vascular tissue, that is phloem, in next video. Thank you.